in Australia that was interesting and exciting, I was obviously doubtful of my ability to perform this task well. Let's see if I can change my own mindset. Euthanasia in Australia, however, a horrifyingly weird topic, is widely debated in Australia and is a highly controversial issue. Currently, euthanasia is not legal within Australia unless permitted by the federal court under extreme circumstances, and the legalisation is a subject of debate despite the government's objection. It is completely understandable why some people would appreciate the legalising of euthanasia within Australia, but first, what is euthanasia? Euthanasia is described by the Queensland Right to Life organisation as the deliberate and intentional killing of a human being by direct action, such as a lethal injection, or by the failure to perform even the most basic medical care, such as the provision of nutrition and hydration necessary to maintain life. There are many different terms defining the different methods of euthanasia, including voluntary euthanasia, medically assisted suicide, and involuntary euthanasia. Derived from the Greek word euthanatos, which literally means easy death, so clever, euthanasia has been in practice since the influential times of ancient Greece and Rome. One famous, slightly unlucky fellow by the name of Socrates was subject to an involuntary form of it in 399 BC or thereabouts. It's a bit contradictory, a pioneer of ethics and morality being a vassal to a horrible death like that. The contemporary debate, however, began more recently, during the 1600s, where Thomas Aquinas stated his opinion, dangerous, saying that euthanasia was bad, and with hardly any reasoning he left it at that. Since then, euthanasia has become widely debated all around the world. The subject of euthanasia can be taken from the perspective of two vastly dissimilar ideologies. The first, Deontology, is an approach that judges the overall morality of a certain deed, constructed on its observance of rules or duties that would usually govern it. In this case, euthanasia in Australia, unless authorised by the federal government, would be judged by a deontologist as absolutely unacceptable because it violates the deontology mindset. Euthanasia is legal only in the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, and 2 states of America, and in the Netherlands has been nothing more than an epic fail. It has been reported that euthanasia patients make up 3% of the total annual death rate and 8% of the annual infant death rate. These statistics might not seem very horrifying, but consider this. How many Americans would die annually if the statistics were applied there? The answer would accumulate to approximately 72,700 deaths, which more than triples the American annual suicide rate. Now see if you can apply that to the Chinese annual death rate in your head. Despite these statistics, however, the violation of deontology by euthanasia can be eliminated simply by its legalization. Euthanasia would therefore not be in violation of any laws or rules, and hey, go for your life, no pun intended. The second of the two ideologies to judge euthanasia with is utilitarianism, an ethical theory that believes that if a certain action results well for the majority of the populace, bugger it, it's good. Let's look at an example. Julia Gillard is releasing a carbon tax which could potentially harm the majority of the population. What do? Well, she's disobeying utilitarianism and doesn't seem to be doing anything well, so let's put her in jail. To apply this theory to euthanasia, we would find that it does not benefit the majority of the population, and therefore we should ultimately get rid of it. Like with the deontology argument, it is very hard to find a logical reason why utilitarianism would support euthanasia. However, in this case, the legality of the subject makes little difference. The only instance that utilitarianism would support euthanasia is if the majority of the population were benefited by it. A 2009 study conducted by Newspoll in support of Dying with Dignity New South Wales of 1,201 adults found that 10% of Australians opposed voluntary euthanasia, 5% were unsure, and the rest of the population defended it. Despite all these statistics, however, euthanasia does not directly benefit the greater part of the Australian population. In conclusion, I believe the most effective and logical perspective to view euthanasia with is deontology. Euthanasia is illegal in every part of Australia without having permission from the federal government, and an extreme condition where physical and mental risks would be taken if action is not applied. I would not use utilitarianism because the main part of the Australian population is not affected by it directly. Deontology, well, rules. Let's go back to that one. Read, yep, good, and this one. Awesome. There we are. 5 minutes.